All right, guys, welcome back. Second episode of Step on Foot with Kevin and Luke. Welcome back to you guys. We have a lot to discuss today, so let's just get into it. Kevin, I'm just gonna leave things to you because the first topic of the day is Arsenal 0, Manchester City 2. And I'm just gonna say, like, if someone told me that this game was played 3 years ago, I would have believed you
Mhm.
because I saw a team coached by Arteta who was absolutely paranoid of losing, and that's what ended up happening. I'm not sure what you think about this game, to be honest.
Um, I think that Arsenal did not show up. Yeah, they were, like you said, they were scared of losing. It's like they always had a limit in their heads. Like they didn't know what to do at certain points, how to go to the next step and actually, create attacks and give us any trouble. I mean, our back four was
Yeah, superb,
completely.
superb. Like apart from that triple chance they had in the first half,
Mhm,
excellent James Trafford, by the way. It's
mhm,
crazy how you guys signed Donnarumma after signing Trafford, who is really, really potentially a very good
mhm,
keeper. So yeah, apart from that triple save, I was a bit disappointed from Arsenal, like by Arsenal.
mhm,
Especially in the second half, they were just. I think Arteta wanted a draw, like he wanted to take it to extra time and penalties, or wait for that one chance to land in his
mhm.
team's feet, and win it 1-0 or something like that. Did you get the same
Mhm.
impression, or what was that exactly?
I just got the impression that they had no ideas at all. They were completely shocked by the way I think we were playing and by our tactics. I mean, at some point, I think Luke, you shared a video in our group chat. Just and like it's the Arsenal defenders just passing the ball around,
Hmm.
and the front line, the City's front line, just not attacking, just following the ball visually, not making any moves, and you could see Arsenal passing it back and forth, Gabriel to Saliba, Calafiori back, and they're like no idea how to just advance and break that line. So I
Luke
think they were.
knows a thing or two about that because that is a classic Serie A defensive move. Even Allegri from Milan just does that in every single game against good opposition. Never press. Like you never see like Italian teams like that, like Milan, for example, coached by Allegri, like attacking in waves, like pressing in waves. You just
Mhm.
sit back and wait until the defense, your opponent's defense, just essentially loses the ball, and it's pretty much what happened. I also wanted to say, because there was a
Before
yeah,
we
go
go
ahead, go
into,
ahead.
I think Guardiola pulled out a trick from his Brescia and Roma days. You know, his Serie A DNA is still there. So
As much as I talk about Serie A as like just passing the ball, no pressure, boring, I have to say that after the game, it's a masterclass.
Yeah, you can
You
see
just
how
position.
efficient it is
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
just
I,
adopt a
Just
bit of a defensive approach sometimes.
mm,
I think
exactly.
he managed to expose a defect that Arsenal have, and that is that we can always argue about the quality of Arsenal's defense, because we can all say that Saliba and Gabriel and Calafiori and even Timber are very good defenders. But with their feet, when you're trying to play that much out of the back, they struggle. They struggled a lot. And
And
if you
speaking
want to
about
beat
that,
Arsenal,
Luke, I'm just going to interrupt you 1 second because Arteta did play Kepa instead of Raya, and
yeah.
I mean he was responsible for a couple of howlers. So did you think that affected things, seeing as Arsenal had to play the ball from the back from a keeper who essentially wasn't really confident in doing so?
So I think Kepa is quite the keeper in terms of his footability, and I think he's quite gifted in that area. What I do not like is that the idea of Kepa playing in Wembley after what happened with Sarri when Sarri wanted to take him out. Um, I think that should have been a general rule. for Arteta to not play him. But honestly, I can't understand why. Because it's a cup game, you have to play, or you're more inclined to play your second goalie. If you have one of the best goalkeepers, play him. It's a final. You need to win, and I really don't understand why he took that risk. Obviously,
I think it
Guardiola.
was seeing as Kepa, probably, I'm not sure about this, but seeing as Kepa played the previous games in the cup, like he just as a reward or something, and as a show of faith,
It's the same with Trafford and Donnarumma. I mean, you would think,
pulled it off. To be fair,
but if he didn't, we would have the same conversation
exactly.
now. Why not Donnarumma?
Yeah, exactly.
Roma played their second goalkeeper against Panathinaikos in the Europa League. It's the only game that Golini played, and I would have preferred this Villar played, because at the end of the day, I am more secure and more safe, and my defense is more used to playing with Villar. So again, I get the reasoning why. Okay, let's give him a chance. He deserves it. But if he's your number one, play your number
Exactly,
one.
I agree. Honestly, I mean, the fact that there is as a concept, a second keeper for me, a second goalkeeper is someone who kind of fills in, is someone who fills in for the first keeper when he is injured, suspended, whatever. So starting in a game, like for all the reasons you mentioned, was a bit strange. And speaking of Kepa, there was an incident in the second half, which everyone brushed off. Everyone said, okay, no problem, just a yellow. I'm not sure if you remember it, guys, where he just pulled, who was it, Doku, right?
Manhandled him, literally.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, guys, Doku, without Kepa's pulling, right, he would have had a clear shot on goal in an empty net. That is a red card every single day of the week, in my opinion. Everyone was like, the commentators, no, it's a yellow card. Yeah, fair enough. Even the City, I rewatched the highlights on Manchester City's channel, and even the City commentator said, okay, yeah, it's a yellow. Like, what do you mean yellow? It's like, if he was not pulled by Kepa, he had essentially dribbled him. The ball was practically at his feet. He could have taken a shot. The angle wasn't perfect, granted, but still, like, that would have been a 1-0 lead. So how was that not a red card? I'm not sure what you think about this.
I think it was a red card for sure. 100%, like not even a question. He was the last man. He didn't even make a foul to win the ball. He made a foul to stop Doku. So that's already an intent to stop an attack. And being the last man, red card. So yeah, I don't understand why it was just a yellow.
But as it happened then, Nico O'Reilly, what a player, guys. Double.
Class.
Same exact goal if you watch it. Even also a little point that not many might have noticed is that in the second goal it is O'Reilly who wins the ball. He wins the ball, then kind of saunters around the attacking section of the field, and then just goes in and with one touch, like it only took him 2 touches to seal the deal for City. Just the touch to win the ball and the header to score. And the goals were pretty much identical. I'm not sure exactly. And in the space of 4 minutes, as you can see on screen here. So was it a blackout, do you think, from Arsenal's end, or were they just like caught up in their heads or something? What happened, guys, do you think?
I think I don't want to say Arsenal are the type of team that panics when they're not used to conceding. That's one. They're used to be very tight in the back, minimal goals, and always being in the lead. I think after the first goal, being in the final, they're not a team that shows up in finals. I think the bottling the league and the cup is in the back of their heads. So I think that's just constantly playing in their heads. So I think after the first goal, they shut off, I think.
I completely agree. I believe that after the first mistake that Kepa did, mentally, there's no going back for Arsenal, unfortunately. And, seeing them from this season, you mentioned a good point that they're not really used to conceding goals and losing in reality. I mean, so mentally, it's as if they're, as soon as the first goal went in, they definitely said, okay, we're not coming back from this. It's over. And I'm pretty sure, especially from other podcasts and other Arsenal fans talking about it, they're going to say, okay, we lost this one, we'll win the league now.
So yeah, I mean, this result could essentially really affect Arsenal's heads. Plus, there is a head-to-head fixture in the Premier League. I'm not sure when that is. So that will. What do you think this result changes things from that end? Do you think that this? I mean, does it have the potential to sway the odds in one favor or the other, one way or the other?
I think so. I don't think they're a team that can. They're not used to. Again, they're not used to sort of bouncing back off of such things. So I think this will stay in their heads. Oh, we lost a cup against City. Okay, then they play City at the Etihad. Might lose the game. Let's say they lose the game. Oh, we're only 3 points now. And then you always get that small team that gives you a hard time. It's in their head. Oh, City are after us. We're gonna bottle the league. Happens again.
I mean,
So, yeah.
if I were a City supporter, my worry would be City at this point in time, not Arsenal, because I really don't trust City to win certain important games. Like, sure, they can beat Arsenal, but I've seen too many draws. I've seen too many disappointing results for City this year, and like even just winning one game out of West Ham and which one was it? Nottingham Forest. Two teams who are really struggling down there. Man.
They drew against Wolves, no? Their last. I mean, okay. I mean, even Wolves beat Liverpool, so Wolves now have found a bit of form. But if you drew against Wolves, if I'm not mistaken, they were 2 up. If I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 2 up, and they conceded in the 90-something minute.
Yeah, that was, in my opinion, the game that really showed that they are a bit fragile mentally. And obviously, when that happens, you drop points, you lose finals. But honestly, I'm going to say something that obviously Kevin is not going to like it. I hope that Arsenal win the league this year, despite losing the final, if I'm being honest, because they have reached a point that it's time that they win the league, and maybe Guardiola. It would be even a good thing for City to not win the league under Guardiola this year. That's just my opinion. But obviously, they deserve to win the cup against Arsenal.
But why exactly? Why do you think that Guardiola shouldn't win the league?
I think it would be a bit of, okay, Liverpool won it last year, but if they do not win the league, knowing City, knowing Guardiola, if obviously he remains, let's say he remains, I'm pretty sure they'll come out stronger because they'll say, listen, we won the cup, fine. We lost against Real Madrid, we lost the league. Let's invest in 1 or 2, maybe 3 players that really makes us go from here to here. And honestly, it would be, in my opinion, a good thing if it's obviously a good thing if they win it, but it might be motivating for them to win the league. I guarantee you that if Arsenal win this year, they won't win next year.
Who knows? I mean, to be honest, Arsenal have never had this kind of a team, guys. They have never been this good on paper and even off paper. Like, this has been a very solid performance so far, all things considered, Champions League considered. So they've had a really great season, Arsenal. Now, it remains to be seen how good of a coach Arteta is, because now I think Arteta comes into play. He has to work on the team. He has to get them all on board and focused on what is yet to come instead of what happened. This was a big blow, and as you guys said, there probably will be some ramifications for this inside the heads of the Arsenal players. So now again, he has to be the guy who kind of steadies the ship and tries to go and clinch this damn Premier League, because how long has Arsenal been trophyless So there are 9 points separating Arsenal and City. City obviously have one game less, so that would potentially be 6 points with 7 games to go. So
Then let's say we beat Arsenal. That's 3
yeah,
points.
that's 3.
So,
But
and let's
that's
not forget they
also
have the Champions League as well. So they play Sporting,
yeah.
and I mean they came back against Bodo Glimt. I wouldn't throw Sporting away. Their striker, I think he's called Luis Suarez. Is it or
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty good.
insane.
Mhm.
Scoring goals for fun, obviously, Portuguese league, but even in the Champions League, they're showing up. They have a good team, so
I expect Arsenal to pass against Sporting personally because the gap in quality is still pretty substantial. But seeing yes, there is the Champions League still involved, and seeing as City are knocked out, it might be a blessing in disguise. That so we'll have to wait and see. But speaking of the Premier League, guys, there has been a bit of a disaster on Liverpool's end. 2-1, the final result against Brighton. I kind of expect these kinds of results, guys, and I'll tell you why. It's because once, if you've played midweek, right? Yes, it was against Galatasaray 4-0. You think it was like an easy game, and it probably was. But when you play midweek in the Champions League, especially, and you're forced then to play in the Premier League away from home against a solid side, not the best side in the league, but a very solid side, that really makes the perfect mixture for a bit of a disaster. So the game didn't start off that badly for yes, they went in front Brighton pretty quickly after 15 minutes, but they drew the game through Kirkets. But it did kind of seem that Liverpool were, on the back foot and essentially couldn't get a good result. And I'll just tell you this before leaving things to you, Luke, about what you think about Liverpool's season so far. Liverpool are in trouble when it comes to the Champions League spot, guys, because even if the Premier League, and this is an eventuality rather than a possibility, that the 5th place in the Premier League gets automatic Champions League qualification, there is still, Liverpool are 1 point off Chelsea, 3 points off Brentford, and even Everton, who are all at their heels. So, and also the fixtures coming up for Liverpool. Manchester City away, PSG away, Fulham home, PSG home. Then there's Everton, Crystal Palace, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Aston Villa, and then it ends with Liverpool, Brentford. So some very, very juicy fixtures for Liverpool. Do you think, Luke, that they can make it to the Champions League this year?
Chelsea lost as well, so it's as if neither Chelsea nor Liverpool won that 5th spot, to be fair. So I think it all depends on who is going to be worse, if it's either Chelsea or Liverpool. And that is why Brentford and Everton kind of catch up to Liverpool and Chelsea, because they're dropping points. Honestly, I don't know who's going to take that 5th place. It's a very big question mark. Now, obviously, Chelsea has the advantage because they're not playing in Europe. They were eliminated by PSG. Liverpool, in my opinion, they might focus more on the Champions League and knockout competition rather than the league, because they have been inconsistent in the league. So both of them are a bit of a question mark, if I'm being honest. So I saw the game against Brighton. I did not expect them to see that performance even after the Galatasaray game. But honestly, I can't explain why they lost, because yes, they have a lot of injuries, but I mean, they lost Ekitika, who is a very important player for Liverpool right now, to score goals. But I don't know.
But it's
can't
kind of
expect
what
them
happens now if you play, like Ekitike did also play in the Champions League against Galatasaray midweek, and
he's their only striker, no? I mean, with Isak out, he's their only proper striker. So,
but honestly, guys, should we be having this discussion after how much Liverpool have spent in summer, or is that a factor that can only be considered to an extent? What do you think?
I think, considering the amount of money they spent, they should be doing better than they are. Of course, they were a bit unlucky with Isak.
Leone, Frimpong, Bradley.
Exactly. So they had a bit of bad luck with their signings, but I mean, considering their squad depth and the quality of their players, especially their midfield, doing pretty well. So Bosley, McAllister, yeah, Eketika when he plays down the wing. Now he's playing striker. Yeah, I think they should be doing better than they are for sure.
Who did they spend their money on this summer? Isak, Eketika, Frimpong, Leone.
Kerkez?
Yeah,
Oh,
Kerkez.
Kerkez.
They gave us Simicas. Thank you.
I don't think they
Yeah.
touched the midfield. I think they left the midfield as is, right? It was only the rather. I mean, forward
Yeah,
and
I think
wing,
so.
like full backs, but I don't know. It's one of those seasons for Liverpool. I mean, honestly, seeing
Oh,
them.
but they got Verts.
Oh yeah, how could I
By the
forget,
way.
man? How could we forget?
Of
Who
course.
has in his defense picked things up just a bit recently, but you know, I mean, even the period of adaptation for certain players wasn't all the way there. I mean, this only holds for certain players like Wirtz, but Kerkez played in the Premier League, was playing in the Premier League. You know, who has helped me out? Who like Isak was playing in the Premier League before.
Isak, to be fair, it was a disaster. You know, just ready to take place because Newcastle did want to sell him, and he went to Liverpool at the end of the transfers market. He didn't have time to adapt. Didn't have time to train. A big fee, in my opinion. Okay, Newcastle, they bought Walter who isn't performing. They bought Wissa, who isn't performing, but at least they got, in my opinion, the better end of the deal. Because
Yeah, definitely.
Isak, who had a disaster of a season.
I think Liverpool spent too much. It's not the players that are essentially bad or good or something. I think they spend too much because when, like, okay, let's say I want to buy Isak, like, but only to an extent, bro. Like, how much am I gonna actually spend for this guy who, yes, scored a lot, but at the same time, the more you hike up the price, the greater the risk of a disaster, in my opinion. Because the pressure would then build up, and you'd essentially have this striker who has so much pressure on him to perform, to score in every game, and no, we paid 1, 2 or whatever million on Isaac, so I expect him to score if one game yes, one game no. So and why? There are so many scouts and talent acquisition specialists whose whole job is to find new players and keep an eye out even in the Champions League from teams who aren't that good maybe for the next new striker. Why do you have to go to a guy who has already a lot of hype around him? His club already doesn't want to sell him. You know that it's going to be a very big risk bringing him in, especially the more the price goes up, as I said. I think it was a very avoidable. This was very avoidable if a bit more thought was put into this and less was put into, okay, let's get this new big guy in town kind of thing. I'm not sure
only
what
one
you think.
good season as well.
How
So
long has he
didn't
been
really
playing in the Premier League? I'm not even sure. I'm gonna check now.
I think
So
it
yeah,
was his second season with Newcastle, and that's
Yeah,
when
he
when he scored a lot of goals, won the cup.
He came from Sociedad.
Yeah, Sociedad. Look.
But I think Liverpool were in a bit of a panic buy as well. To be fair, they had just lost Jota, and I think they needed a pure. Not
No,
that Jota was a pure striker, but
I have to disagree. You cannot justify 100 million buy to be a
I
panic
wouldn't
buy.
have spent 100 million to get a striker anyway. But I think
I,
they
I,
wanted.
they wanted a striker,
Mhm.
but the truth is that I still don't understand why they. Okay, I understand it because Liverpool are coming from a few seasons where they didn't really spend that much on transfers, and this summer they just decided, okay, let's go all out. They brought in Eketika when they kind of knew that there might be a chance that Isak is impossible to get into the squad. he was already performing. I think he played 1 or 2 games where he was already performing, and then because they were given the green light to bring him in, they brought him in just for the sake of bringing him in. That's my opinion. And again, that's a typical Premier League move. You're paying Premier League tax money, by the way, because you're buying from another Premier League team, which obviously Premier League tax, and they will take up the price up
Yeah.
immensely. But I mean, I still can't understand.
So
If you have
let's
spent almost
yeah.
100 million on 2 strikers, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is a bit much, as I said, guys. So let's now go to Italy, where Fiorentina actually got a pretty solid draw for their situation. They're very disastrous Serie A campaign so far, but like more significantly, it meant that Inter are now just 6 points off Milan and 7 points off Napoli. The problem, if you want to call it a problem, is that Milan and Napoli face each other right after the international break. So even if, whatever happens there will inevitably kind of go Inter's way in some way or another. So I'm not sure who of you watched the game, the Fiorentina Inter game. What did you think of Inter? Did they look a bit leggy? Did they look a bit tired there?
Mr.
Go
Serie
ahead,
A, do you want to start?
okay.
Mr. Serie.
I was going to say, Kevin, go ahead, because obviously you said that you appreciated a Serie A game, so it was surprising.
I did.
But
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I to say that again, that I did appreciate the game a lot. I think going up against an Inter side when you're in the situation of Fiorentina, having this disastrous season, relegation battle, playing against a team who's still in the run to win the league, solid team all around, and then playing like that, I think it's excellent.
I
I
mean,
think
Fiorentina do have their backs against the wall kind of right now, because they do have a bit of a cushion on the like a 2 point cushion only on Lecce, who's 18th right now. But yeah, they needed points, so it's only surprising to a certain degree that they would turn up against Inter. But the thing is that they were like Pio Esposito scored within 30 something seconds. So that's what makes it a bit impressive here, that Fiorentina remained in the game until they eventually found that Endur goal. Luke, what do you make of Inter right now? Their mental state after the loss in the derby, then the situation in the game against Atalanta 1-1 with a clear penalty, to be honest, on Frattesi, I think. So what's their mental situation at, do you think?
So I think on the last podcast I said that the league is done, and I think that at the end of the day, I would be very surprised if Inter do not win the league. So I'm still going to stick with that narrative. Basically, I think that Inter, despite it's been 3 games that they haven't won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I think some players are overperforming, like DeMarco. He's incredible. I think some players like Lautaro, they're a big miss for
And
Inter.
Çalhanoğlu
So
as well.
exactly, and if up front you are playing with Esposito and Thuram, who, by the way, Thuram is having a very bad season, and
Many
you're
Inter
missing.
fans are complaining about him, eh?
No, this year he wasn't that good. I mean, he is an inconsistent player, to be fair, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he sold, if a Premier League club would be interested in.
Spend like 100 million on him.
No, that would be even crazier than Isaac. No, I think Inter will still get it done. I think that you mentioned a very good point. That game Milan Napoli is a very, very big what if. I mean, and I think that what if Napoli had to beat Milan, and what if Inter drew against Roma. I don't think that we can win. Hopefully we can, but obviously it's a difficult game. We won last year there. But what if Napoli are in the title race? I'm
That's
to be
that's
honest,
something. That's
more
something.
interested.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about because not many people are talking about Napoli. Napoli, very sneakily, without making too many headlines, have won 4 games in a row. They've Kevin De Bruyne has returned from injury. They've got Højlund
McTominay.
now, McTominay now, who scored the winner, if I'm not mistaken, against Cagliari. So 4 wins in a row. Not the most beautiful, entertaining football that you'll fall in love with, far from it. But a result is a result, and they have now grinded 4 wins in a row. Milan next, home, and Milan, as we've seen against Lazio, away from home, aren't very reliable. And even against Torino, as a Milan fan, I was really not impressed by the team. A bit also kind of disappointed by Allegri, who continues to not manage to make the team work, in the sense of when it comes to attacking a game, Allegri still has a lot of trouble trying to make things happen. He does obviously have some problems. The situation at his hands is pretty funny, to be honest. There's Leao, who's injured and kind of coming in and out of injury. Also, with the whole attitude problem that he has, I'll just say that. Then there's Pulisic, who hasn't scored in 2026. Also, fresh off a long injury. Fulkrug, who I'm not gonna talk too much about at the risk of being offensive. Then there's players on the wings who are very young, Atekame, Salemaker, who thought he's become a really good player at some point, and his head is as huge as San Siro at this point in time. Very wasteful player, very kind of fancy, but not in the right moments, fancy kind of guy. So I'm liking Napoli now for a contender, for a real contender. Now it remains to be seen how Inter return from the after the break, right? Because hopefully for Inter fans, of course, they will get Lautaro Martinez back, maybe even Çalhanoğlu. So maybe that will kind of get Inter back on track. Many people have said that the international break has come at the right time for Inter, because they'd managed to, bring some, even like have a breather, like say, okay, we've drawn a few games, things haven't gone our way, we've panicked a bit, but at the same time, as you said, Luke, 6 points of Milan, 7 of Napoli, if we're gonna consider Napoli for the anti-Inter kind of team. So this situation is still really good, man. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure what you think, Kevin, about the 7-point gap from Napoli and 6-point gap from Milan with 8 games to go. So there's that.
I think it's very similar to the Premier League in the sense the point gaps, the number of teams competing for the league, important games coming up, and so on. So I think it can still go either way. Yeah, like you said, if Inter get their best players back, Lautaro Martinez, for example, Çalhanoğlu, like you mentioned, I think they could bounce back and sort of get back in the race. And also, it depends.
Just to wait and see now. And speaking of the international break, there is a very big game for Italy against Northern Ireland, and also
before we go into it,
go.
I just wanted to say something about Inter. I think if I'm Kivu, I would be very concerned about the Napoli Milan game, because whatever the result is, I think that team will be their main opponent for the league. One thing in particular that is, in my opinion, interesting is that Inter will play against Como at home in the Coppa Italia for the second leg.
Yeah, that's right.
So that could prove to be a bit of a distraction. And Napoli, if they had to win against Milan,
To be honest,
honestly think
Luke, that Como game is only one. There's only one extra game. They're out of the Champions League now, so
true, but if you were to play your best players in that one game, similar to what they did in San Siro against Bodo Glimt, even mentally it could, tire them a bit. And obviously it could prove to be a bit of a factor. Obviously, yes, it's one game, fine, but it's still something that they have to think about rather than Napoli and Milan. So
yeah.
it's
Also, I'm gonna another counter argument. The reverse fixture for Inter Como ended in like 4-0. So it was a different Inter, sure, but Inter trashed Como the last time they played.
I think if rather than a different Inter, it's going to be a different Como now.
Do you think so?
Definitely.
I'm not so sure, honestly, because Fabregas. I mean, I think that Fabregas isn't too keen on changing things up. But as I say this, I'm remembering that Milan Como, which ended 1-1, was a different Como. We saw a different Como in that game because he was happy for the first time, as long as I've been following Fabregas at Como. He was happy to let his team's opponent, like Milan, he let Milan play with the ball and just like take initiative. And that's something that Como never does, man. Never ever in this league have Como let the ball to the opposition and just wait to play. He won, like Fabregas played the way Allegri tends to play. And he actually did a good job. Like the result ended 1-1 and he got something out of the game. Could have won also. So I'm curious to watch that game, but I'm still not convinced that. I mean, I don't know. Anything can happen at the end of the day because Inter, as I've said, are a very different team now. The Inter that beat Como 4-0 isn't the same Inter that we're seeing now. I think you guys can agree with that, huh? So.
And I think Como are more ready to play these kind of games. I think they're one of they are the most informed team in Italy right now. So
Como are really doing a good job right now. 5-0 against Pisa recently, so they are flying. And even given that Juventus dropped points against Sassuolo, they're now 3 points off 5th place in the Champions League spot. Como on the Champions League, guys, next year.
Nice away game to go to.
Yeah,
Como.
yeah. If City play away to Como, it would be a nice.
For sure.
Nice. I would be tempted to join as well. Like, I've never been to the stadium. I've been to Como, but not to the stadium. So it would be a lovely fixture to
nice
go
game,
to
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So
just a side note: if Como actually go into the Champions League right now, their stadium is not up to FIFA regulations.
Right.
So they might have to
They'll probably
think about
play
it
in San
other-
Siro or in Bergamo, no? Where?
I don't know, but they might have penalties and so.
What's the stadium? What's the capacity? Like, do you know for the Como stadium?
Not too big. Maybe you could look it up.
Yeah, it is. No way. 12,000 spectators. Is it possible? With long-term
12,000.
plans to increase capacity to between 15,000 and 16,000.
And what's the cap for like UEFA standards?
Yeah, stadium capacity UEFA. Let's see. Highest category 4 standard requiring a minimum of 8,000 seats. However, major finals generally require at least, obviously, 60,000.
Maybe it's the size of, but no, it couldn't be size of the pitch though, because
No.
that wouldn't make sense. But surely Bodo Glimt don't have more than 12,000 seats in their stadium.
Yeah, I mean, let me check. Bodo Glimt Stadium, because that was a really tiny stadium that I was.
Yeah.
It holds a seated
Looked like
capacity of 8,000.
Exactly,
So-
it's like a League One stadium, even smaller.
How
So
big is the alley?
I think around 12, 13, if I'm not mistaken.
17,000.
17,000.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's UEFA approved, obviously.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So we know
I
where
wonder
a
I
Maltese
wonder
team would
why
play there.
Como's stadium
I think there's something
isn't.
else to it because I've heard what Luke is saying. I've read about it, like passingly, but yeah, we'll have to see what the deal is with that. It would be nice if they'd play there because I remember even Luke, you can fact check me on this because I think Atalanta as well had a problem with
yes,
their stadium
yes,
and they
yes.
played in San Siro and they
It
what
was
problem
in the
was that?
COVID year. It was in the COVID year. When Atalanta played Valencia.
Hmm.
The outbreak of the COVID
Oh
pandemic.
yeah.
They,
But
they
what was
played
the
in San
problem?
Siro.
What was the problem with the stadium at the time?
To be honest with you, I think I don't know the real regulations and standards, but obviously a team that has never played in the Champions League, maybe it is not equipped enough in terms of standard maybe
Mm.
and regulations to be a Champions League team. So I think something is not up to standard maybe, but we'll look into it.
Yeah. So now we have a good 20 minutes to talk about the Italian national team. So on Thursday they will play Northern Ireland, and Luke, you've just told us that you've seen Gattuso's press conference. What of interest was said there? I don't usually tune into such press conferences, so I'm not sure what's up.
So basically, 2 points that I really liked about his press conference. The first one was his justification of the players that he chose, because he left at home players like Fagioli, who is an informed midfielder right now, a very
Very
creative
informed.
one.
I love how he's playing right now, but yeah.
I like him as well. I would, to be fair, I would really see him at Roma, but obviously that betting situation,
Oh
it,
yeah, but now it's cleared. No, he's served his
yes,
penalty or
but
something.
it's something. To be fair, even Tonali, had the same
Oh
situation
yeah.
at hand. So okay, he talked about not choosing Zaniolo and Bernardeschi and Dorsolini, and the reason why he sent back Chiesa. After
Was that because Chiesa initially had rejected a call up to the national team? Was that the reason why he left him at home, or?
So basically, obviously, he didn't say it directly. What he said was that there was no point in Chiesa staying with the national team because physically he's not. Obviously, that is no surprise. If you're playing 10 minutes, if you're lucky, every game, if you're lucky, you can't expect him to be physically fit to play, such an important game. And basically, he said that there's no use in him staying here if he's not, physically there. But I don't think that, in all fairness, Chiesa would reject a call up. I think it was purely on him not being physically fit to play such a game. And
Could be,
to be
yeah.
fair, it's understandable.
And who are the strikers called up? Scamacca, I assume, right?
Scamacca
Esposito,
is a bit might be injured. There's Esposito, there's Ken, and
Retegi,
then
or is
there's
he?
Retegi.
Yeah.
He's chosen.
So I mean, look, the potential is there definitely, and it's Northern Ireland, right, at home. So
On paper, I mean, first of all, on paper, Italy should not even be in the playoffs. They should be already qualified, but playing against Northern Ireland, I mean,
okay, let me open a bit of an interesting one, guys, an interesting discussion. So the reason Italy are in this situation is because they drew a few games that they shouldn't have drawn, and they obviously lost to Norway twice, both home and away, in the group stage. So that essentially meant that Italy would be second in the group, and they're in this situation where they have to play first Northern Ireland, then the winner of, help me out, Luke, who is it? Is it, I actually forgot.
Bosnia and Wales.
That sounds right. So
To be fair, I've been so focused on the next game
yeah,
and not to get my hopes up on what happens next.
yeah.
I'm focusing on.
So right, so they are in this situation because of like that because they've drawn a couple of games that they shouldn't have against very small teams, and then they lost to Norway, which, I mean, we can talk about that some other time, but the situation was this: Norway first, Italy second. But when you go and analyze the teams, for example, in South America, right? I'm going to load up I'll actually try to do it later. But in South America, you have so many teams in a table, and the teams that qualify for the World Cup are a good 4 or 5. You don't have to, because in Europe, we're used to, only the first placed team qualifies automatically. We're automatically thinking that, second isn't good enough, okay. But man, there are teams in South America who are qualifying by ending 4th in their group stage. So, do you think this is fair? It's a very strange one. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but
I think Europe has the strictest, but strictest qualifying regulations. I think it's much easier to qualify, like you say, in South America or Asia. I think more teams have it easier to qualify there.
it's a bit strange. Luke, do you think that they should add a few more slots for this kind of situation?
Montella, he's a former Roma player. He spoke about this, and today he's the national. He's managing the Turkish national team, and he said, "Okay, Brazil lose 4 or 5 games, and it's okay. They're in the World Cup.
Exactly.
Italy
Yeah.
lose 1 game, and there's a risk
Playoffs.
that
Exactly my point.
it's obviously let's not use it as an excuse, because being the Italian national team, you'd expect them to be there every 4 years, because you're talking about a nation that won the World Cup 4 times.
It's not a World Cup without Italy.
But to be honest,
obviously,
I mean,
Norway deserves to be there, by the way. But
exactly.
obviously,
Because Norway have been superb, best team in the group by far. But really, the second place team faces an absolute, we've seen what happened even in the last World Cup. Maybe, Luke, again, you can jog my memory, but Italy were in the exact same situation, no? And they lost to North Macedonia.
Macedonia.
Yeah.
Macedonia.
And from an innocuous kind of second placed finish, where you think, where in any other situation you think, second place isn't too bad. Like if Malta ended up in second place, we'd be like roaming the streets and enjoying ourselves. Second place is a pretty good result, guys. But when it comes to qualifying for the World Cup, in Europe, it's a tragedy, because then you're faced with the extra couple of games that might not be as automatic of a wins as you think they are. And in the last World Cup, we've seen it. We've seen just one disaster happen. Like that 1-0 loss against North Macedonia. Crazy result. Italy should have won it. Italy should have gone to the World Cup in that year. Fair enough, whatever. But the principle of my discourse here is that it can't be the case, man. I think it's so strange that there are such tight regulations when it comes to teams finishing second, like between second and 4th in the group. What difference is there, really and truly? Because you potentially face the same thing, which is elimination from the World Cup qualifier, or from the World Cup in general.
I think that the regulations, they might be revised, but again, I really do not want to use that as an excuse, because I think if we had to really dive into the issue, I think Italy's problem is the political bureaucracy. I think Italy's problem is lack of funds. For Roma to build a stadium, it is not as easy. Spurs just built a stadium.
I think what you're talking about, Luke, is too much. I think you're going into too much detail, because Norway, let's say, because Norway won the group. Norway was better than Italy during the both fixtures, home and away. Fair enough. They're creating prospects and playing good football, and they have the best striker in the world, as Kevin obviously will say,
But
with Haaland.
they don't have the
But
pressure. They don't have the pressure.
do you
to,
think it's just that though?
honestly, I think we could go into many factors on Italian football in general. I think that when Italy lost out against Sweden with Ventura as their coach, with the team that they had the first time round, mentally it destroys them.
Well, that
If you win
happened
a
years
Euro,
back, Luke.
nothing has changed because we're in the same situation. If you win a Euro, that was two years after they did not qualify
Yeah.
with no, I think
say
so.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, something like that.
because second time round against Macedonia they lost with Mancini after winning the Euros. So yes, exactly. Time wise, that's it. I think that the pressure is simply crumbling, and that is honestly my biggest fear against Northern Ireland, because on paper we can all agree that the quality. I mean, we'll go into this later on, but the quality obviously you'd expect Italy to perform. But I have to mention the second point from Gattuso's press conference that really stuck in my head. So basically, Gattuso said that they were at liberty to choose the stadium where they can play. And he decided to play in Atalanta Stadium in Bergamo and not play in San Siro. Why? Because in San Siro, 70,000 people, half of them are Inter fans, the other half is with Milan. They are
Intelligent
whistling.
move, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. It's we'll go into it, and they some fans are going to whistle Donnarumma because he didn't extend with Milan, and as soon as they did not pass the ball as good as they want to, then you're gonna hear 70,000 whistles. So the pressure crumbles on them.
And there's also Bastoni who is gonna get whistled for sure.
And in Bergamo, it's a smaller stadium, so maybe less pressure. But honestly, you can say it's a good idea. But honestly, man, I'm
Should
used
we
to
have
seeing...
reached this point? I don't think so. I think Italy is better than that.
and
personally,
Italy is in this state also because there aren't that many leaders in the squad. I'm used to seeing Gattuso, Cannavaro, Pirlo, Totti, De
Marquisio,
Rossi.
yeah.
Sure, even the Marquisio era, where you had Chiellini, where you had Buffon, where you had Bonucci, where you had...
Even that, Luke, is a golden age as far as I'm concerned, because now, sure, I am a Milan fan, so take this with a grain of salt, but I don't like most of the players that there are, and not only because they're mostly Inter players or whatever, but even the personalities. I'm not really convinced. But above all, what I'm not convinced, and I think that this would solve your problem, Luke, I think that a good coach with a good principle of football, knowing what he can do with the team that he has at his disposal, is what Italy needs. It is what Italy had when they won the Euro. A coach, it was Conte, no, who won the...
Mancini.
It was Mancini. Mancini with... along with his stuff, managed
Gialli.
to find that, R.I.P. Managed to find his gel the team together and get them over the line in a very crazy fashion, away from home in England's own stadium. They were home. He actually went on to win. I think that even with Conte, for example, as a coach, Italy did a fantastic job, man.
Conte did quite well with the squad that he had. 3-5-2 defensive, okay, but they won all their group games, if I'm not mistaken, and he got eliminated by Germany in the Euro. So Conte did quite a good job. I mean, with Adair and Pelé up front. I mean,
that's the thing. Italy needs a good coach. Italy has a bunch of great coaches. There are so many to choose from. And so far, even with Gattuso, I am not convinced. For the 2 games that remain, sure, Gattuso can give you that edge, but Gattuso's not a very good coach, guys. He can motivate you,
Exactly.
okay, and maybe that's what Italy needs right now. It's just that motivation to get them over the line. Then we'll see. But I do not think that Gattuso's the right man for the job as a long-term plan. Maybe the board of directors don't care about what happens as a long-term goal. They just need Italy to qualify, for which fair enough. But Gattuso
To-
doesn't have it.
To be fair,
Isn't a yeah.
the fact that he actually took the job, it speaks a lot about Gattuso, because if
I mean,
it
he had
takes
nothing
someone,
else going for him, Gattuso. He was fired from his
but
previous job as well.
neither did De Rossi, but I don't want to say that he didn't take the job, but Gattuso was more up for it. I think that he had, sorry, I'm going to say it, he had more balls to actually take the job, and it's showing.
I
that he
mean,
wants to
it is a
contribute
golden
something.
opportunity for any coach, Luke. How could he not have taken it? Especially if he was just sacked by his last club. So
I don't know. We'll see. To be
We-
fair, I would have really
yeah.
wanted to see Inzaghi be
Yeah,
the Italian
that would
his
have been a
coach.
good idea, man.
If Inter players would have had him, I would really wanted to see him be.
What do you mean
And
if
if not
Inter
him, De
players would
Rossi.
have had him? Because of some friction, do you mean?
So apparently, the story is that at the end of last year's season, Inzaghi had already, decided to leave the club, and his relationship with the players soured, and that is one of the reasons why they had such a performance against PSG. And if you have players like Barella, Bastoni, Di Marco, even maybe
Could be.
Acerbi, then they wouldn't have had him. But honestly, I would have seen him as the best fit, in terms of, because he has European experience. He has he did very well with Lazio with a mediocre squad. So
Yeah.
I would have really wanted to see him.
Also, before Ancelotti signed with Brazil,
Brazil.
Ancelotti. He knows how to take care of a dressing room. He knows how to get his players over the line. Great deal of experience, won practically everything and then some. So
To be fair, then again, I get why Ancelotti went to the Brazil team. I mean, most of his players, used to play with Real Madrid, so it was a perfect fit. So yeah.
I don't know, honestly. It's a bit strange there to see an Italian coach coaching Brazil, to be honest. But as a Milan
A
fan,
German
I'll
is
always
coaching
be
the
grateful.
English
So
team.
whatever. Oh yeah, that's true. So just Kevin, just a bit of a bit of a discussion here about the English national team before we go. What do you think Tuchel can do with this English national team? Do you think that he can actually go on to get them to the final and maybe win it?
That's the idea every time that England, can win it. I mean, on paper, obviously, they have probably the best 11 in the world. I mean, every position is stacked. Even their replacements of the replacements are good. So I don't see why they can't win the whole thing. Most informed striker in the world.
And now they have a good coach, an actual good
They have
coach.
proven winner, experience. So I don't think they will win the World Cup, but obviously, looking at the odds and at the players, and they have the capacity for sure. It's just like when England had the Beckham, Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, and they didn't win it. Then I think,
I
you can
wouldn't
say they'll
take
never
it.
win it.
I wouldn't take it very well if they do win it because I don't really like England as a national team. But I mean, if we'd have a final like England versus Brazil, it would be a nice one. Huh? I'm not sure though.
That would be, that would be
Like who?
yeah.
What are the other great nations that are competing? Like
I wanted
France,
to ask
obviously.
if you could pick one team each.
Mm.
Who could say, okay, supporting aside, I mean, if you really think Italy, then say Italy, but
No,
who you
no.
actually think can win the World Cup, like can go the whole way? I can start. I think Portugal
Do you think so?
can sort of grind through and somehow win, I think.
I
That's what I
am.
would say.
This is a tough one. Huh? I'm divided on. I think France will do well. Yes, they've lost the last final, but such a good team. So players on such an elite level. They
Mhm.
know how to handle pressure. Know how to play those really tough games. Very athletic team, physical team. So I think I'd put my money on France or even Germany, although Germany, like Bayern, always find a way to get themselves knocked out from an
Mm.
important competition. So I'd say France. What about you, Luke?
That's a good shout, yeah.
I think once again, considering it's an international competition, England are the favourites. But in Italy, there's a little saying called "film già visto," which means
Mm.
a film that I've already seen. So I don't think that
But
mentally they
it
will.
doesn't mean yeah, like we've seen England fail before, but the same thing with Arsenal. Oh, they're bottle jobs or whatever. But there's a first time for everything, as the Americans say, Luke. Huh?
Okay, I'm a Roma fan, so obviously I'm inclined to agree with you because if that doesn't happen, then maybe Roma will never win a league in my lifetime. So I have
But
to. I
okay,
have
look,
to.
back to the talking point, right? Give us an
I
answer.
think if I want to be romantic, I'd
No,
say
no, no, don't be
Ronaldo.
romantic. Just say, like, if you were to put money on the winner right now,
It's a bit. Do I have to choose one?
one. Like, you can mention a second,
Okay,
like, yeah, option.
Ronaldo's Portugal, but I would like to keep an eye on Spain.
Hmm,
Mm, good shout,
interesting,
Spain as well.
interesting. Um, uh, Portugal, I think you
Yamal's
guys
first
are.
cup, by the way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, Spain are also stacked practically everywhere, no? Or almost everywhere, because now, as the generations have, gone on, there aren't as, you know, more popular picks in every single place on the field, but there's still an excellent side. But just to talk about Portugal, because both of you mentioned Portugal, and as much as I like Portugal, I would love to see Ronaldo win the World Cup and things like that,
Yep.
but Portugal, guys, I'm not convinced when I see them play. I mean, last time I've seen them play, obviously it's been years now, but I'm never convinced that they have it in them to win or go too far. Yes, they did win the Euro, or actually the Nations League that they won, right? Or both.
They won the Euro
Mm, both of them.
2 years ago. Yeah, both of them.
Okay, so I
Mhm.
mean, I might be proving myself wrong here, but I don't know. What exactly do you see in Portugal, Kevin, for example, to say that that you like them for the
Just
final?
yeah, I just think that even though they have the separate star players within the team, so you have the Ronaldo, De Leao, Bernardo, I think together they still play as a team.
Mm.
So you don't have that ego so much, and because sometimes you see teams that are stacked with stars and they just don't function. Which is, I guess, sometimes it's England's problem as well. They have so many stars in each position and they're so good individually, but they just don't click with each other. But I think Portugal have that sorted out. I think when they play together, they play well and they know each other, and they have that national pride and spirit. Um, yeah, I think that will put them a bit over the edge and maybe win the World Cup.
Who knows? Would be epic, guys. But this is all we have time for today. So thank you, guys, for joining. Really nice to have a good chat. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. See you, people.
See you. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.